opportunity is now. It's not a future. So the thing is, you get inspired, you grab the opportunity by the balls, and you course correct. You grab it and you go. You don't think about it. So, but yeah, it's very important where very successful people I deal with, like you said, they have a lot of, they don't have demons, but they sure as heck, they find out, I don't get it. I checked off all the boxes, right? They got the house, the cars, the family, this and that, but they're still unfulfilled. They're still depressed. They're burnt out, and they don't know why, because they're not walking. They're not walking. They're living a secret identity. They're not acting and abiding by their true self.
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. So welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's SHF Talk with Alex Ramirez. And today we have another incredible guest. I'm really excited about this episode with this incredible guest. Although, I normally try to not get people that I'm not excited to talk to. But yeah, before I actually introduce him to you, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving reviews on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple, Google, everywhere we are. And thank you to those who have been leaving comments on YouTube as well and reviews and have subscribed. You are the reason why we do this. And so, yeah, I just want to thank you. 99% of people don't take the time to leave a comment or a review or anything like that. And the 1% of you who do are the ones who make all the difference. So to you, I say thank you. And today we have Dr. Zaino. Is that cool, man? Is that how you pronounce it?
Perfect. You got it, man. Absolutely.
Awesome, man. So Dr. Chris Zaino is a world-renowned speaker, author, entrepreneur, former Mr. America, and Mr. Universe and IFBB Pro bodybuilder,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And after defying a deadly terminal disease in his late 20s, Dr. Zaino leveraged his experience to get his doctorate and become one of the largest wellness clinics in the world. Seeing thousands of people weekly, Dr. Zaino created the I Am Hero project to resurrect heroes from the complacency of their secret identity so they may live heroic lives once again by expressing and experiencing true love now in every area of their lives. Love now in every area of their lives. Okay. Through his 4-step methodology, Hero Rises. Awesome. Currently, Dr. Zaino is one of the top leaders internationally in generative medicine with a focus on male vitality. I love this, man. I'm really excited to talk to you, man.
Nailed
Thank you
it,
very
dude.
much
Good
for being
job.
here.
Yes, Alex. Good to be here.
Man, let's flex really quick. I'm going to get my team to cut this. Let's flex.
All right. All right.
Awesome.
There we
Holy
go.
shit.
There we go.
Awesome, man.
Awesome, brother.
So, man, the first thing that I do with my guest is, put them on the spot and ask them to tell us about, to introduce themselves and tell us about their entrepreneur journey in 75 seconds or less.
Sure. Yeah. I don't do anything that I didn't have a personal experience in. So when I was faced with a deadly disease called ulcerative colitis, I tried everything. I looked everywhere and nothing worked. And then someone had told me, "Hey, why don't you go see this chiropractor or a wellness guy?" And I thought he was crazy. And I said, "I've tried everything." And he said something to me. He goes, "No, you didn't try everything, because if you tried everything, you would have had your health." So he challenged me. So I went there, and in 7 months, just correcting the causes of the problem, my body was able to heal itself, and I didn't have this disease anymore. And so that inspired me to go back to school, get my doctorate, and just tell my story. I've told my story tens of thousands of times around the world. And so everything I do, basically, in all my entrepreneurial successes, was always something that I had a personal experience with. And then I went out and I told my story about my experience with it, and persuaded people to take, to see it the way I saw it and help them. So that's basically, that sums up one of the key factors of my success, is just having that personal experience.
Cool.
Because like, for instance, you did insurance, right? But if the insurance company didn't help me, if I didn't have it, if I didn't work with it, if I didn't know it, it'd be tough for me to sell something, right? So instead of it coming logically, when I had an experience or a family would experience, it's coming from my chest, from my heart. So my scripting doesn't have to be perfect, but my intention is so pure. You 28x times the average results.
Hmm. Yeah, man. So, having the experience actually gives you conviction, right? So because you're a product of the product.
Yeah. You spent
Awesome.
money for it, right? You did everything. So the big thing is people what they get, they got to think about it, talk to their spouse, or they don't got the money. It all comes down to money. But when you invested in that and you went through that, like, so every objection someone could have, you went through or you experienced. So yeah, the conviction, you're right. The confidence and conviction is so great. It plows through any type of weak objection someone would have.
Awesome, man. Man, so I want to know about what I just read, which is the I Am a Hero project, and experiencing and expressing true love in every area of your life. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
It's kind of like what you want, right? Like you were talking about the things you want to do to be a gentleman. Like, every life, I want to experience true love. And my idea of love, and it was really good when you tell me your story. When we say the word love, the problem with that is you talk to 1,000 people, there's 1,000 different perceptions of what love is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's baggage for some of us. It's a perception that we've seen through experience, but it's we have all different things. So my personal definition of love is what I call unconditional appreciation, right? So when I tell you I appreciate you, it's like unconditional appreciation. So if I could appreciate something in my life unconditionally, no matter what happened. So when I was sick, unconditionally appreciated that what I was going through, I just appreciate because I knew it would turn, like you said, it'll make me someone better, like you talked about before. Being a drug addict and alcoholic, everything like that. Looking back, you just told me you're not proud of it, but Jesus, you unconditionally appreciate that to the point where if you were given a time machine, you would never go back and change a thing. And that's true healing. That's true evolution and maturity. Like as a spiritual being, which we are, we were created to evolve, to expand and forward progress and to continue to do new things that have never been done before through us. So if we're dissatisfied, good. That's exactly where we should be. Dissatisfaction is a perfect state of growth. We should never be satisfied. But it's great to be uh, you know uh it's good to be dissatisfied but appreciative. So I appreciate my dissatisfaction because every area of my life, a lot of times, let's use work. What happens is I'm not experiencing true love. I'm not truly appreciating something right now because we want something more, right? But if we could just
Mm-hmm.
focus on truly having unconditional appreciation in the present, where we're at right now, even though we may be through the middle of the recipe, even though we might be going through the hard time of the process, if you could stay in a state of unconditional appreciation, um, that's where you have all your power, because the past you can't regret or resent because it already happened. The future you can't worry about or have fear or anxiety because that hasn't happened yet. So really our only power is in the present, and that's where all your opportunity is. Your opportunity is now. It's not a future. So the thing is, you get inspired, you grab the opportunity by the balls, and you course correct. You grab it and you go. You don't think about it. So but yeah, it's very important where very successful people I deal with, like you said, they don't have demons, but they sure as heck they find out I don't get it. I checked off all the boxes, right? They got the house, the cars, the family, this and that, but they're still unfulfilled. They're still depressed. They're burnt out, and they don't know why, because they're not walking. They live in a secret identity. They're not acting and abiding by their true self or their truth. So my job is to open up, take away that secret identity, have the person, like you said, find their true purpose and truth, and from there on, live a heroic life. And when they live that heroic life, everything you do is the reward. So you're doing this podcast, you have more energy at the end of this, right? The
Mm-hmm.
act of doing this is the reward. It's not even the end goal. You could do this all night. You could forget to eat. You could forget to sleep. So it's doing those things where you just absolutely love it. But a lot of times people say, "I love to do this, but how can I make what money doing that?" Right. So that's why the four pillars I talk about is you maximize. You maximize. You embrace the hero mindset. You maximize your superpowers. You choose your vehicle of influence. That's how the yours is podcasting and video. And then you monetize your message for the survival of your legacy. So when you have those four steps, people are taking that. You could take that idea, what you love to do, and we have a systematic approach to actually, make an income from doing something you love to do. So even for some people, they make more than they ever made before. Some people they make less than their corporate job, but shit, they are happy, and they're having fun. They're healthy. They're doing amazing. and they're seeing life in a much different aspect. So it comes back to like what's most important in someone's life, and sometimes through the journey, you find things that your pride, that you were attached to things. A lot of times we get attached to things, and it's hard to let things go, and that's the issue. That to become to the point where you're not attached to things and you can just be free. That's a true goal of being a hero.
Yeah. The definition of modern gentleman is having it all, man, right? Being
Yeah.
successful, happy, and fulfilled. And the way you achieve that is by, well, not only taking care of yourself, but like knowing your purpose and
Mhm.
having the balls to step into it, right? Because
Yeah.
with my digital marketing agency, it was a big shift because I was making money and stuff, and then it was a big shift for a 21-year-old who just learned how to speak English 2 years ago, who was a drug addict and alcoholic, to start coaching married entrepreneurs with kids on how to be better men, right? It was crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. But I'm successful, happy, and fulfilled. And like you said, when I'm doing this, man, I lose track of time. I fucking love it. When I'm on
Yeah.
my coaching calls, it's amazing, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for nothing. And
Yeah.
one of the common themes that have been coming up on conversations that I've been having is that people feel like they're not where they want to be, right? And just like you said, right, like, and like that feeling is like having lack, right? Like you need
Yes.
something. And what they don't understand is that they need to be content without being complacent, right? And
Yes.
unconditionally appreciative of their current situation, because like you said, man, the opportunity is now. So that's been one of the things that have been coming up. And man, I just love this, man. I just love everything that you said, and there's a
Yeah.
lot that we can dissect from it. One
Sure.
thing that I wanted to say when you mentioned time machine is that one of my
Yeah.
whys is being my dad's time machine, right?
Yeah.
Right, because one of the things that he said to me, when he did everything that he did, is that he said that I would be his time machine, and like the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing, like the modern gentleman and true freedom and all of that, right? Like basically getting his message and doing what he would have wanted to do is not because he wanted to do it or he wants me to do it, but because I want to, and I feel good about it. So yeah, you wanted to
Yeah.
put that out, man. And so you talked about that there's a system, I think, right, or a process to be able to monetize whatever you love or you're passionate about. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about that, man?
Well, yeah. So the first thing is like, for me, it always comes down to mindset, and it's that old paradigm. It's a paradigm we call the secret identity. It's just most of us, we've been, we're living out a secret identity. We from teachers, preachers, dogmas, parents, belief systems. We're living a life according to other people's values for our lives. Just think, you grew, your mom said if you have a kid at this age, so we're inundated by everybody's subordinated values. So we become what everybody else expected of us. Okay, you got to go to school. You got to go to college. Okay, da da da. Okay, I'm at this age. Got to get married. Okay, got to have kids. So we're doing everything that TV and media and everything looks normal and successful. But what starts to happen for me in my 30s, I go, I don't even know who the hell I am anymore. Like, what do I want? Like, I never took the time to ask myself, what do I really want? What's my truth? Because all I've been doing is if Alex was a peer and I looked up to you and I had to do this number or buy this watch or buy this, hey, if I stayed status quo or above and I hit those markers and checked out those boxes, that was my validation from the outside in. But imagine living your whole entire life and you realize one day that you built relationships, you achieved things, but you look in the mirror and the number one relationship that's least developed is the one with yourself. You never looked inside. So where was that childhood dream? What did I ever want to do? And here's the issue. It's like the Matrix. Sometimes you're so far deep in that secret identity that you're like, you know what? Life is good. I'm not really happy. I'm kind of bored. I'm burnt out, but I'm comfortable. And so they're willing to take the blue pill and just kind of live a secret identity life of unfulfillment. But there's those of us that there's something on the inside. There's that depression. There's that dissatisfaction. There's this uneasiness. There's this depression. And what depression is it's the opposite of expression. I mean, if there's something that you got to express and all these things, and you're getting sick of it, and you start soul searching, you start looking around, and you realize you were just grieving your potential. So this potential inside you that you had, that it's like dying on the inside. You got to get it out, and it gets to the point where you either start sabotaging things, A lot of men, they sabotage to be distracted. They either go to pornography, or they cheat, or they get into drugs or alcohol to numb this inner feeling of saying, hey, listen, it's time to go on your hero's journey. Like, you live this color. This is not your life. It's a secret life. It's a secret identity life. It's bullshit. It's an Instagram life. It's time for you to show your purpose. And there's a time when it's not a midlife crisis, just a crisis of life, where you have who you were created to be and the secret identity of what you've been living in life, and they clash. And you got to decide which one wins. So you can live in the comfort and torment of your secret identity, or you could choose to rise up and embrace your truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how you're so attached to this life over here. But the level of joy and happiness and success and fulfillment of doing what you're called to do outweighs any of the bullshit that you previously lived. But it's very tough. So you're saying to get the balls to make the leap. My program is to help you leap. My program is like the hero's journey. During the hero's journey, there's a call to action, which you had, brother. And then there was little guides along your way. But ultimately, you got to hit the abyss. It's all by yourself, where you have to face yourself, and there has to be a death of the old you and a rebirth of the new you. And it's a true rebirth, because when you die and there's a rebirth of the new you can't go back to the old person. It's dead.
It's
Like, there's
dead.
no going back to the drug addict, alcoholic, ignorant person. Like, it's a part of you, and we unconditionally love it. But it's impossible. It's not you anymore. You cannot go back. It was never you. It's just an experience you went through. And that's that whole hero's journey. And then when you go through that transformation, which you did, then you have the calling to bring it back to your hometown, like Star Wars, bring it back to your home. And then you then help others. You help influence others to reach out and to live their dream. And that's kind of what you're doing. So age doesn't matter. All of us have it. It's who's willing, and who's, like you said, who's willing to have the balls to do it. So at 21, I'm sure it was in me. At 21, it's in all of us. But you hit a point. You had some serious wake up calls that made you say enough's enough, and you chose to find it faster than others. But regardless of your age, it's there, and it's our job to help get it out of people.
Holy
You know,
shit, man. Man, so
you follow?
yeah, it was, yeah, man. Like, holy shit, man. So I have a question. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I go around, I go, with my family, I go that, down the street to back to my hometown or whatever, and like literally 99% of people, drink, smoke, date. 99% of people are have all of these like negative habits. I don't know if I should call them negative habits. That's just what they do, and that's what makes them
It's
happy.
social heredity, man. Social heredity. Like, you inherit the social actions of those around you. That's why, like, if I stay in that element, I will become that element. So it's social. There's genetic heredity, like you have hair from your dad. So there's heredity, and there's social heredity.
Mm-hmm.
So if my dad was abused my mom, I might grow up to be an abuser, like all these things. So we tend to have social heredity. And that's why you see that, and then you have the crab in the bucket effect. If one of you starts to come out of that, the other ones are going to bring you down,
Yeah, but
because it justifies. Because if you're successful, then well, not even, I'm not saying there's right or wrong, but if you do something different, then it makes, so if they bring you down, it makes them feel what they're doing is normal, and you're the outcast. See, everybody wants to justify the reason why they're doing it. The reason why I drink and smoke and do drugs, I have to have a justification. You don't understand it. I have it bad. I came from a negative family. I'm just trying to, like, a penny. I'm trying to make a penny. I'm trying to do like, so we have to justify. A thief justifies why they steal. But a lot of us, some of us like yourself, you justified rising up. Hey, listen, I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to follow the footsteps of my social heredity. I don't want to walk in my dad's footsteps. But my dad was my great. Here's the unconditional appreciation. I don't want to be like my dad, but my dad was my greatest teacher. See, a lot of people don't realize they see an abusive parent, but a real champion sees that abusive parent as one of their greatest teachers. I have a buddy of mine. His dad was never present. He was a total jerk, and he was resentful. And I mean, a successful 100 million. I mean, deca millionaire. And we were talking, and he told me all about his dad, all his bad, just so much pain and bitter. And I'm like, but how are you with a husband? He's like, I go, you're a great husband. You have 3 kids. How are you on a family? He's like, my kids love me. I'm a great dad. I love to be a great dad. I'm like, so why are you like that? He's like, because I didn't want to be like my dad, you know? I'm like, so can we admit that your dad did serve you? And he realized in the moment, holy shit, my dad and who he was, I'm able to love that and forgive him because he really served me, because he allowed at least me to know what I didn't want in my life. So when he realized that his dad served him, and everything serves you, like you took that message in your life and you used that to serve you, where some other people, instead of seeing how it serves them, they see it as it allows me to be a victim. So now I could be a victim, and now I could stay the same, and now I could drink and do drugs because you don't understand. You don't have it like I do. And so you can either be a victim, you're a person that says I can't, that's a victim. And then there's a person that says I won't. That's when you have the power. Like, I don't say I can't, I say I won't. So for instance, Alex, if I don't take care of my body, I don't say, well, I can't eat right, or I can't I can't buy good food. You tell them, no, no, no. Can't means you're a victim. I won't do it. At least I get to the person of self responsibility. No, you can do it. You won't do it. So I get people going from I can't to I won't. And when someone starts saying I won't, then they realize, well, why won't I? Well, because it's expensive, or what will people think of me? So it's all about taking your personal. People who stay stagnant, they lost their personal power. But if you can start taking your power back by saying, I choose, or I not that I could do all things, I just won't do it. You know, like, why didn't you get flowers for your girlfriend? Well, I can't. No, you won't. You didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to. Great. So take personal responsibility. So you took personal responsibility over your child, over everything, over your habits. And a lot of people think it takes a long time to change. I think if it gets deep enough and hurts enough, it's in a split second. I mean, I really think change can happen very quickly, where you're like, I'll just never go back. So this is where we come from: social heredity and living a paradigm that our former generations lived. It's almost the same song playing. And someone like yourself's like, I see this. I don't choose to have that life. I want this life. But yet all my family and my parents, they actually served me by being my greatest teachers to create polarization or contrast of what I do and what I don't want in my life. And you went after what you do want in your life. And so there you go. Now, the question to you is, when you go back home and stuff through your area, you have to protect your heart, because it's going to pull from you. It's going to pull from your well. So that you prepare yourself, you do your personal self, right? Body, mind, spirit, all that. Then you could go to the battlefield, have people take deposits, but still be able to save as many people as possible. Then retreat, refuel, right? And go back in, because your tank only has so much deposits it could take, and withdrawals. So that's why we got to teach you. And that's what you basically did.
Yeah, man. When I go back home, I do feel like I
Yeah.
get, withdrawals from my own, from
Yeah.
my emotional bank
So what do
accounts.
you so what do you do to recharge? So what is that? What is the thing that fills you up? Because as long as the well is kind of full, you're strong. But when that well goes dry, then hunger, anger, loneliness, scarcity, poverty, all that fear starts to shake anybody. So what do you do to ensure your morning routine? Like, you probably have a routine. What is that routine that gets you to true north again and fills you well? And then you go out, because we want to serve people. But what people don't understand, they go and serve people, but they're martyrs, meaning that they don't take care of them because they
Hmm.
want to serve everybody else. But they go to serve people with an empty tank, and they get pulled down and ripped apart and become a victim. Where you fill yourself up, boom, then you go out, you serve, and then you know when to pull back. Like, even Christ did that. If you look at the Bible, like, he would go away, right? To fill up, right? And then boom, come back. So I think that's where your personal morning routine, or whatever ritual you have to fill yourself up, to then be able to go to help people. Because you got to understand, I mean, you can only take so many withdrawals, you know?
Mhm. So what's that word when, for example, someone criticizes you and you feel bad about them because it's just a projection from them to you? What's that word?
Yeah, projection.
No, no, no.
Well,
Like the feeling, compassion, man. So what I do is I journal,
yeah,
and I just come from a
yeah,
place of compassion, because I get criticized a lot, and I'm the crazy one, right? And like
well,
yeah,
yeah,
and what I do is just have compassion for them,
yeah.
and be empathetic, and know
Empathy.
that it has more to do
Yeah,
with them than it has with me. So
empathy. Yeah, because um, Marion Williamson had that great quote that said, "There is no enlightenment in shrinking to the insecurities of others." So a lot of times you hide your light because you don't want to expose other people's insecurities. But there's no enlightenment in that. You rise and you show your light, whether they call you crazy, stupid, weird, whatever. Because when you show your life, you also give other people permission to rise up and show their light as well. And the empathetic experiences, some people that they're exposed to it and they want to look the other way, they want to close their eyes because it exposes the hurt that they don't want to be there, because all of a sudden all the distractions stop and they get a glimpse of where they're at, and they get to see what they've been medicating not to
Yeah.
see, and they just see a shadow of it, and then they're filled with shame and guilt and despair, and they're angry about it, and so they got to transmute it to you, or let the pressure cooker out on something to start medicating again. And so that's where the empathy comes from. They're sad, depressed, guilty, and shame. All these things have built up, and they feel it's just too late. I had a
Yeah.
brother who was on drugs, and he literally felt that he had did so many bad things. He was impossible to be forgiven, and he led a life of guilt and shame and overdose because he just could not forgive himself. It's a lie, right? So we're here. You're trying to shine light and expose people who want to see it to shine light, and there's those that are not ready yet, and that's okay. And you just love them, and yes, let them throw stones and this and that, but as long as you know who you are. But let me tell you, it still hurts. That's why it's so important to get grounded, go in there, see it as empathy and compassion. Because if not, if your wall is down, you're going to get defensive. And all of us, all of us have that side of us that are defensive. And then maybe we start believing the guilt and the shame. It's just a bullshit lie. It's that old paradigm that wants to suck you back in,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know?
Man, you sound to me, I mean, I know that you're a doctor and you do all of this,
Yeah.
how do you call it? Like, I don't have my word, man.
Regenerative medicine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
also, like your mindset talk is just
Yeah.
out of this world, man. Right? Like I'm all about
Well,
mindset
yeah.
and I read books about mindset, and probably some of my audience are gonna be like, "Holy shit! Like, what are he talking about?" But like, I understand, and I'm just like blown away, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you call yourself? Like, what is it? When someone comes to you and they tell you that, I don't know. So, for example, everything that you're saying, what am I trying to say? Yeah, man. So, like,
Yeah.
what is it that you do apart from generative
Well,
things?
so I have my clinics. I'm a doctor, so I take care of people health wise.
Uh
But
huh.
a lot of times people's health are gone because their mentality is off. For instance, like, why did they get to that position in the first place? Their mind was off. Why they eat junk and shit? Because their mind was off. People know what to eat and what not to eat. So, well, how about you get someone well and they go back to being sick? Because their old habits brought them back to where they were. So they got to change their habits to have permanent health. And then, I love and enjoy helping people because I know if you could get the physical body functioning optimally, you think clearly, your mind is sharp. I know when I'm training and eating right, my mind is sharp, it's clear, I'm focused, I'm on my A game, I feel good. Because when you're not taking care of your body, it creates uh, mind fog, you vibrate differently. So, I take care of my body, I vibrate higher. When you vibrate higher, what happens? People don't understand that when you're thinking of the lack, right? We talked about what were you talking about before that? They stay in lack, right?
Yeah, when people say that
And
they're not where they want to be.
right. So you're saying I don't have
Mm-hmm.
versus using your imagination. If this is where you want to be and this is where you imagine your vision's at, and you're on this radio station and this is the radio station where your vision's at, and you cannot get here from here, right? So your mentality has to come. I am a person who's making $100,000 a month from increasing quantities and multiple sources on a continuous basis from expected and unexpected areas. I'm the best in the world in regenerative medicine with the focus on male vitality. I fucking love what I do, and I have so much wealth and abundance that I'm the underwriter of all my dreams and desires, my children, and those I choose to give to, right? And so, like, that is my vision. That's my purpose. But I'm here. So the thing is, but I put myself here. I feel it here. So if I could get on that frequency of having it, then it's gonna draw me to it. I'm gonna have the ideas. I'm gonna have the new idea, or I'll meet someone, or we'll get on a podcast, and all this serendipitous stuff starts to happen to go there. But if I just sit here and talk about how I don't have that, I'll never get on that station to get it. So that's why we're like, I wish I don't have this. I wish again is lack. So start using your imagination. The imagination is your greatest mental faculty, Einstein said. Everything we see was in someone's imagination. The iPhone was in someone's imagination. So
Hey, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to tell you that this podcast has completely changed my life in ways that you could never imagine, and I would like the same for you. Look, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, and the fastest way for you to level yourself up in every area of your life is for you to connect with people who are where you want to be, build relationships with them, and connect with them. The best way for you to do that right now in the digital age is for you to start your own podcast. And I just wanted to let you know that I have a free training that you can get free access to. It's called the 30-day Net Worth Skyrocketing 3-step podcast cloak track framework. And it's going to show you how you can start and automate everything in your podcast, from finding your ideal guest, getting them on an interview with you, and creating an automated content machine in just 30 days. By executing on this free training, you're going to be able to connect with high-level people, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem, in just 30 days with less than 1 to 2 hours per week, so that you can increase your net worth, your authority, your trust, your client acquisition ability, and your opportunity. So there's a special link for this free training in the description of this video. Thank you for watching and tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
you understand that imagination, we were told when we were kids that it was called daydreaming, right? Stop daydreaming, almost like it was bullshit. But what if we were lied to? And what if that was the greatest key to success, period, is to have an idea, like you had this idea, the gentleman's right. You had this idea. When you had the idea, you get excited about it, right? And you held that idea and that excitement for so long. Look what you created. So this was in your head and you got excited about it. So a lot of people, they're like, they don't get excited, or they get excited, then they start to justify, or logic kicks in and be like, well, how are you going to do that? You're crazy. Why are you going to do it? Like, and then you disregard this dream. But everything I'm looking at, this headphones, that microphone, the phone, it was in someone's imagination. They got excited about it. Steve Jobs was so excited about it. They said, we can't do this. It's like, I don't care. I thought if he goes, if I could think about it if I could hold it in my mind, I could hold it in my hand. Henry Ford was the same way. If I could think it, then it could be done, like the 8-cylinder engine. Like, we can't do it. It's like, I know, do it anyway. And so these are guys that they had a vision, and they were like, and they say Steve Jobs was crazy. He wasn't. He was so focused and relentless on his vision. And what I believe, Alex, and this is just upper level stuff, I don't believe we think of an idea. I believe, Alex, you were vibrating, or you had your emotions at a high level, because all an emotion is
Mhm.
just, you're telling me what vibration you're on. Sad, depressed, happy. You're just telling me where you're vibrating. I
Energy in
believe you're at a
motion.
point. Yeah, I believe you're at a point of a vibrational level, and you're at some certain level, and this idea chose you. I think you had access to, like, radio waves are in the air. You had access to ideas. People think you don't come up with the idea chooses you. So that's, I talk to billionaires, and they all say, one billionaire said, he goes, I'm so grateful for the idea that chose me. I'm like, what did you just say? He's like, I'm grateful for the idea that chose me. Like, what do you mean? He's like, I took care of myself. I did what I had to do. I was focused on self-awareness and bettering me. And then I had this idea pop into my head. He's like, it dropped in my head. So and when he said that, I'm like, oh my God, ideas, we just hit a vibration like a radio frequency, and there's that idea. Boom. So you got this idea, boom, it shows you to do this. And then you take it out. So
Revelation.
a lot of our purpose, inspiration, ideas is when we're at a certain level, or that epiphany where the idea chooses you. So how many people have an idea for a book or a playwright or a movie, and they get the idea and they just think, well, that's I'm just daydreaming, that's ridiculous. Or they tell someone and they say, dude, that's ridiculous. Why would you, like, because the reason why people don't agree with it is because it's not their idea, it's not their vision, it didn't choose
Mhm.
them. So a lot of times when we have this cool idea and we get excited, tell people, be quiet, or only tell someone that unconditionally supports them. Like, you tell Alex, if you said something, I'm like, dude, I support everything you do. What do I got to do to help you? No matter what it is. So you want to find someone that very, very few people could do that. But a lot of times we have an idea and we tell people and they support the reason why we can't do it. And it's stupid. It's going to take a lot of money. Forget it. Where you got the idea, you got excited, you stay focused on it, and you created this.
Man,
So
but
that's the
what if
thing.
it's
So,
hard? What if you get the idea, this idea chooses you, and then you decide to go for it,
yeah,
and it's hard?
right. It's hard. But the thing is, because you're excited about it, you don't mind the work. Elon Musk, for example, guy's like, he works 100 hours because he enjoys it. Right? You enjoy this, dude. If you did if you did 5 podcasts a day or 10, and you enjoyed them, you'd do 100 hours a week, and not you wouldn't even be tired.
Yeah.
So the work is just. But if it's work, if it's work that you love, it just like my son plays tennis, obsessed, every day, obsessed. He puts in over 100 hours a week, and he's obsessed. And his mom thinks he's unbalanced. I'm like, no, he's going to be a genius. He loves it. Don't take it away from him. Let him do it. And he's rocket shipped in his because he loves it. The act, I said, the act of doing that thing is the reward. The act of you, that's the thing. It's the goal isn't the prize, it's who you become on the journey. So you understand that. So you doing these podcasts and the journey of wherever it's taking you, it's constantly rewarding you. The act of you doing what you love to do is the reward. And then all the other cool, that's why all the other cool stuff happens, is because that you said you're having satisfaction and appreciation in the present journey, and that's why everything seems to fall into place and it's fun and it's exciting. But imagine if you're saying, shit, how come I don't have a million viewers? Crap, how come I didn't get sponsors? And you're in this like horrible work, then it's going to be laborious, it's going to feel like it's work, but you're just doing it because you love it. And that's why when people look at Joe Rogan, like, wow, he's such a, no, he's not a businessman. It was him and his buddies that love to get together, get a little high, and just talk. And 10 years later, right? Like, so it wasn't hard to him. He loved it.
Yeah.
He loved doing it. So people are like, wow, how do I build a podcast like Joe Rogan? I'm like, you don't. I go, he was a guy who just, I go, because he wasn't looking to build a podcast. He was looking to hang with his buddies and have good interviews and conversations and allow you to be a fly on the wall. He didn't care where it went. But now, because he loved it, look what happened.
Yeah.
So everybody's looking at things the wrong way. It's like, before you do something, I'm like, do you really love it, or do you think you're going to make money out of it? Because if you might make money, but it's going to come a point where you're going to dislike it, you're going to hate it, and you're going to self-sabotage it. So even if you're at a job, how about the person that's at a desk job and they fucking hate it? I'll always tell them, at least do something during the day of something you love. So if you like podcasting, that's the vehicle of influence. Do a podcast, do a couple podcasts a week. I don't care if there's 10 viewers. Do a Facebook Live. Do something. Do something that brings you, because I think a half hour, 1 hour of something you love will blow away and take over all the things in the day that you didn't enjoy. It just it blows you, it gets you excited again. So that's why everybody's like, well, someday, don't wait till someday. The power's now. So if you want to knit, if you want to bake cookies, if you want to be a chef, if you want to be a writer, do something of it every day. Because like, to me, I play the piano. But just those 15, 30 minutes of playing, what a recharge, right? So put those little things a day. It doesn't matter how you make money of it. And then eventually it may or may not turn to something, but at least you have the joy molecule. It's like it's reaching joy even in the journey.
Yeah. And then when you marry loving it with having a clear purpose and like a
Oh
clear
yeah.
goal with it and why you're doing it, holy shit, man. All right. So like I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
jumping on this podcast because I want to level
Yeah.
myself up. And the fastest way to do that is by surrounding yourself with people like you, right? Who are
Yeah.
decades, in front of me, who are decades ahead of me. And like all of this that you're telling me, man, I'm gonna go back and hear it again and again and again. And holy shit, I'm gonna have revelation after revelation after revelation that is going to collapse the time that it's going to take me to achieve my goal of success, happiness, and fulfillment, having it all and becoming a modern gentleman, right? And
Right.
then, a podcast changed my life, right? Like hearing it every single day. So now I want to do the same for other people, right? Change their life and give them
Yeah.
the tool sets, the strategies, the tactics, and everything necessary for them to become modern gentlemen. And I'm building my network, right? Your net worth is your network. The fastest way
Yeah.
to increase your net worth. The fastest way to increase one is to build the other one. And in
Yeah.
2023, I'm going to be throwing a 10x conference type of event. And all I'm going to have to
Yeah.
do is invite my 200 plus high level entrepreneurs that I've connected with and built a relationship with and deposited into their emotional accounts. And
Yeah.
imagine that, man. I'm passionate about it. I have a clear purpose, clear intention, clear of where I'm going. Holy shit, I feel on fire. Thank you, man.
Right, right. So see, this where you're at right now. So in the state you're in right now, this is when you make decisions. This is when you make ideas and make it go. You don't make decisions when you're feeling scared. Like, so sometimes I tell myself, I'm like, now's not the time. This, where you are right now, this is when you listen to intuition. This is when you make decisions. This is when you trust your idea. Whatever that was, you just said, that's truth. But like, if you're not in that state, I'm not, because you were not, you right now, you were not influenced by circumstances around you. You were only inspired by vision. So that was from within, right? So
Yeah.
that's the voice you want to listen to.
And then this feeling that I'm feeling, it's fucking great. And it comes from
It's the best thing
purpose,
in the world, dude.
right? That's
It's
why that's
winning.
how
It's
purpose feels.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah.
If you want to know what
Awesome.
winning is, that's winning.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks, man. Man, so
yeah. I know when my son first won he won his first tournament. I told his mom he'll never be the same again. She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I know what it's like to win, and when I win, and I felt the feeling of winning, like you felt, I go, you chase it the rest of your life." And so the ultimate form of winning is personal winning, which is personal purpose. And you know what? I used to say health was your greatest asset. I'm a health doctor, right? But I realized recently, you know what? Health's not your greatest asset. It's actually your purpose. Because your purpose is the reason why I'm going to eat better. If I have a purpose, I'll eat better. If I have a purpose, I'll do the things that need to be do. Like, so the reason, like, because look how unhealthy the society is. So that tells me, holy shit. But everybody tells me that health's their greatest asset. And so it was incongruent. Why would you live like this? And I realized most of society doesn't have a purpose. So therefore, purpose is your greatest asset, because when you're on purpose, you're not going to be overweight. You're not going to do drugs. You're not going to, you're going to do all this stuff that's going to take you off your focus, right? So
Mhm.
and I'm actually talking about that this week in Cabo, to a bunch of health professionals, that health's not your greatest asset. It's actually your purpose, because purpose is what makes you wake up in the morning and feels alive. Purpose is really your immortality. It's your legacy. Your purpose is the people you touch, what they'll talk about you. Your purpose becomes your name. Like your name, Alex Ramirez, will be associated with your purpose. Like today's Martin Luther King Day, right? I know the people who watch this, but Martin Luther King, Martin is a name, Luther's a name, King's a name. Nothing special about it, but his purpose is his name, right? What he
Mhm.
stood for is his name. The name itself is just a name, so your purpose becomes your name. So the Ramirez lineage will be known from what you did. That you know how certain names, like the Kennedy name, right, has a different feel to it, right? Oh, the Kennedys, right?
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
purpose behind it. You know, the Trump kids. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, like, there's like, oh, Trump. You see names on towers and buildings. So its building is a purpose. So it's attached to something, good or bad, whatever. So your purpose in your life, your name, if the purpose is strong enough, your name actually becomes the purpose. Like, I mean, the purpose actually encompasses your name. So your name is associated with your purpose, and that's huge. And that's
And
why
your
we talk
purpose
about
is
dead
your
people.
immortality.
It's your immortality, because, well, you and I will talk about dead people: Martin Luther King, Abraham
Mhm.
Lincoln. You think Martin Luther King is the only one who thought that message or thought or believed that? No. A million other people that marched with them believed the same thing. How come we just talk about him?
He
His
made it his
purpose is
purpose.
here.
Ah,
Yeah.
awesome, man.
People supported his purpose. So understand, right? So why do we talk about dead people today? Because their purpose becomes your legacy and your immortality.
Man, so what do you say is your gift?
What is my gift?
Yeah. What do you
My
say?
gift?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I resurrect heroes. I resurrect heroes. I have the ability to see where you are, and I have the ability to see what you were truly created to be. And I grieve the gap. I could feel the gap of potential that you're losing out. And I help guide you as a coach to get you where you want to be.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's why you made me feel like that. Well, I feel like this pretty
No, man,
often.
no. We feel like that because we're both operating on this level right now, right? So we're both pouring into each other. So it's Napoleon Hill called that the mastermind effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mastermind is when you have two or more people together and they're both focused on the same idea and to help one another unconditionally. Then he's like this third mind comes into page. And that's why you and I, we could be talking and then we get all these other ideas that we wouldn't have thought on our own. And that's the key of the mastermind. But a mastermind today is really today's form of mastermind in society is really networking. When they put a
Hmm.
bunch of people in a room and network, and that's great. But a true mastermind is a group of people, can't be a lot. They literally unconditionally love you, and they're like they just want to help you, and they all come together for your benefit with your idea, and then all of a sudden these new great ideas come in. So it's a totally different level than just networking. Because unfortunately with networking, everybody has in their mind, how can I help? But what's in it for me? How
Yeah,
can I
their
help?
own
What's in it
agenda.
for me? Yeah, yeah, a little agenda. But imagine going and be like, hey, listen, I'm taking my suit off, I'm loosening my tie. I'm here for you, brother. Not nothing about me or us. We're here for you, and we'll sit here as long as it takes. And they pour into you, and they're only there for you, and it's the intention is truly there. And that's something. I mean, just think about it. Henry Ford, Carnegie, and Firestone were three friends that hung out together. And like one did the steel, one did the rubber, and and the cars, right? So they all worked together. They came together. They were the most powerful men in the world. Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and another musician, all were buddies and hung out. They came up with these amazing ideas because they loved each other to the point where they were able to put their own agenda to the side and use their innate intelligence, their genius to focus on you, and then all these great things happen. And the next week they would be like, okay, you're up. Which what are you working with? They would just pour into that person, and then these new ideas would kick in because they were elevating at a new level.
This is amazing, man. I
It's
had
real
heard
stuff,
the term of the mastermind, but I had never had someone else explain it to me the way that you just did. So yeah,
right?
thanks.
Yeah. So read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and he talks about it, but where people started, they bastardized it to where they made it just really a networking event where they invited a bunch of people that had good ideas. It's great, like a think tank, but a mastermind is a spiritual level, dude. It's like these people, they like you feel they're not trying to get something. They genuinely want to gonna help me. And then what's tough is you have people that genuinely have no agenda. And then another tough part is you being so self have so much self value that you're able look to open up and accept the love. A lot of times we have inner shit going on and we resist
Hmm.
love, right? So it's ability to be like these people love me and care about me, and you're going to become vulnerable, right? And then you're going to allow them to pour into you to receive all the cool ideas. And that's some amazing stuff happens. So again, we're talking about something where if you could have two or three friends like that, or mentors, and you can, what you're doing, you'll have more access. But for someone to have wisdom like that around you, that is one of the greatest gifts of life, to have wisdom and people of
Mm.
wisdom around you. So what you're doing, you're actually setting yourself up in a perfect element to get wisdom, insight, understanding at a young age, to skip mistakes, to save money from not making mistakes, and to shrink the timeline of where you want to go. And you could find someone that's doing what you want to do, and you go ask them, and they'll shrink the timeline even more. So apprenticing is amazing. You know?
Yeah, man. Man, thank you very much, man. This call has
Yeah,
been amazing, man. I really
yeah,
appreciate it. I'm gonna go back and listen to it a couple of times. And I finish every podcast with 5 questions. So
yeah. Let's
can I
do
go
it.
ahead and ask you the first one?
Yeah, please.
Man, what is one mindset shift that you made in your life that has allowed you to, level up or grow or to be where you are right now? One mindset shift.
Oh, I have to let go of some stuff. I have to forgive, man. Like my thing was finding the beauty even in my enemy.
Okay,
That was the
cool.
mindset shift because it was
Unconditional
because when
appreciation.
because when I held resentment, I was drinking the poison.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get
Awesome.
past a certain level. But truly letting go and healing is being like, it was my job. I hired that person. I found my personal responsibility in everything, even a hurricane. You're like, well, how can you? You know why? Because let's say I lost power for a week. I could say, you know what? I could have got a generator
Yeah.
when I could have bought a generator, but I didn't. I was cheap. So I always find so something when you take full responsibility and you find where you're responsible in some way, shape, or form, it allows you to easier to grieve it and move forward. And I think if you take personal responsibility, then you could work on that in the future. But if you keep on blaming people, it's always going to be their fault, right? It's all about them, but you make it about you. How can I learn from this? And I'm telling you, sheesh, the amount of peace is amazing because you
Awesome.
forgive. Yeah.
Cool. So man, the second question is about clarity. It's about like
Yeah.
map. So I do this thing, the 5 M's of success: mindset, map, motion, measure, money, right? So money is results in every area of your life, physically, emotionally, sentimentally, financially. And if you want results, money, you got to get those 4 rights. So right, I asked you about mindsets. So now map is about clarity, right? Clarity on who
Yeah.
you are, on where you're going,
Yeah.
on your purpose. So like if you would have to give me some advice, or someone, right, like the audience, or whoever is listening, for them to have clarity, because like you said, it's very rare for someone to have an actual purpose, right? Like and a purpose that is their actual purpose, that they feel it, that they have it in their bones. So like, what would be like a piece of advice that you could give them to like get some clarity on how to find it, on what that is, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. If I gave you $100 million today in 6 months, what would you be doing? And because the reason I say 6 months, say you have $100 million, so we go on the trips, we get the cars, we get the homes, then you're sitting there, you bought everything, you got everything, you still got millions and millions in the bank. What do you want to do? Well, I would paint, I would play music, I would. What would you do? And
this.
so what I do is, huh? Yeah, right. So what I do that for is we take the money out of the equation. Like you have so much, it's ridiculous. It doesn't matter. Then what we do, and it kind of puts you in a space where the main thing that we holds us back because we don't know how we can make money off of making cookies or playing music or whatever you love to do, that holds you back. And then your brain just stops thinking and imagining. So like $100 million. I said I am so happy and grateful now that I have $100 million. You know, and I put what I would do,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Awesome. Simple. Great.
Yeah, and then the buffet of life. A lot of times we're doing things for so long that like if I eat chicken and rice for every meal and you said, "What do you like to eat?" I'd be like, "I don't know. I've only eaten chicken and rice." So that's sometimes we need the buffet of life. That means we try different things. And then you say, "Hey, I like that. I didn't like that." So sometimes we need a buffet of life. And that's why I tell you to do with your kids. Have them try everything.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I like
Awesome.
that. I don't like that. And then you marry things. Remember, we talked about marrying things. You take something you like, you marry together and it becomes something fresh.
Awesome, man. Cool. I love those two. The third question is, what is a habit apart from working out and and eating well? What is one habit that you think has contributed to your success and everything that you've accomplished?
Study, study and audios,
I
study
can
like
say,
books.
I can see it,
Oh,
man. Like your level of personal
dude,
development is through the roof, man. Shit.
dude, study. And then when I study, here's the thing. Number one, I get books. It's not because I'm old fashioned, but like I get a book. I like to read the book because when I read the book, I have to hold it. I have to pay attention, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. I got to read it versus like an audiobook in the background. I'm not absorbing it as much. So when someone says, "Yeah, I listened to 70 audiobooks," how about I would rather you say I read this book 70 different times and every time I read it, I would read something and it's like I don't remember, did I miss this chapter? No. I'm a different person reading the book. And so
Yeah.
if you have a book and this person put their whole entire life, this is Bob Proctor's You're Born Rich, good book. And he put his whole freaking life and wisdom of 87, 88, he's going to be 87 years in this book. He's one of the OGs that still speak and about this stuff today. Who am I to listen to this in my car or work and then like said I read it? No, no, no. His whole life he put in here, wisdom. So I need to read it a couple times
Mm-hmm.
and do book reports on it. So I like to, and so in a book, instead of like rushing through it, let's say I read 14 pages. Great, I take notes on it, and then I got to apply it. See, because it's a shame if this person wrote their life success in here and I don't apply it. I could read it and it sounds good and it's good on a meme, but
And it
no,
makes you
what's
feel
even better is
good.
that yeah, it's what's better than all that bullshit is that I be silent and I actually do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Even if it took me a year to read, but you read it and you want to apply it and apply it. So study and then I listen to audio. So it's great with YouTube. You could like find someone. I go fully immersed. If you want to watch Gary Vee, download all his, put all his videos on a playlist and that. If you want to listen to Grant Cardone, blah 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 blah, The Wolf of Wall Street, blah. So whatever you do, become a student. So I could become a student of whoever. I could get all their books and I could make playlists of their YouTubes. And I actually, when you listen to it, you become a student, you fully immerse yourself, and you start to think like they think, right? Because that's the key. You don't
Cool.
want to, it's you want to think like that person. You don't necessarily want to just hear the person. Like you want to be like they're that way because of how they think, not because of what they say. It's how they think, because how they think is the reason why they do certain things. So when that billionaire told me, I'm so happy and grateful for the idea that chose me, I was like, what in the world? Did I realize this guy has $1 billion because he thinks differently? You and I have this exact resources to have $1 billion. You and I are just unaware.
Of
We're
how to do it.
ignorant on how to do it. That's
Yeah.
all. But everything we need is here. There's nothing new that's going to be created. No, like the reason why someone makes $1 million a year and not $1 million a month or $1 million a day is they just don't know how to do it yet. There's someone who makes $1 million a day. There's someone who makes $1 million a minute. So the difference is they just didn't figure out how to do it yet. So, but all the tools and it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we think or the idea. So you got to understand. Someone has 100 million, a billion. You got to understand they got to see something, and they do think differently. They see things differently. They're more abundant, or they see it an angle that you're like, I didn't even see that shit, because we don't realize that we're in the bottle, right? So when I'm in the bottle, this is why you need coaching. When you're in the bottle, you
You
can't read
can't
the
see the
label on the
label.
outside. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what a coach is. So here we're trying to study and all this shit, but even at our greatest studying, we can only come so much awareness. But then when you interview people from a different angle, you're like, holy crap, I didn't even see that. And so yeah, study for sure in audios.
So, man, I have a question for you. So, like a year
Yeah,
ago, I heard this man who was talking who said that you should invest 1 hour at least every single day on personal development. And in 10 years, you're going to be, top of your industry. And if you're
yeah, like
ambitious, right? And if you have a lot of ambition, if you're like hungry enough, do 2 hours, right? So I've been like, I have a habit of doing 2 hour of reading 2 hours, like
yeah,
reading and implementing. I actually call it systemizing what I learn, right? Because I put what
yeah,
I learn, I systemize
yeah,
what I learn because I know that I'm going to teach it later. So I read and implement, and I do it for 2 hours. So I have every single day I read and implement and learn for 2 hours. But I get this urge, I get this doubt, I don't know how to call it, of what if I work instead, right? So what do you say? Do you think doing those 2 hours of personal development, reading, learning, and taking in more
yeah.
information is a good thing, or should I
If
work?
you enjoy it, if you enjoy it, no, because those things. So like I believe reading is sharpening your axe. So this sharpens the axe, and then when you go to work with a sharp axe, you can get way more done in less time.
Okay,
You follow what I'm
cool.
saying?
Yeah.
If I don't read this, I have a dull axe. So when I go to work, it takes me a lot longer to get the job done. So where you think you listen to work, no, you're not losing work. You're sharpening your axe. You're getting better, and then you go and boom, you're clear and you're excited, and then you go to work, and then you're sharp.
Awesome.
It just
Right.
says as someone who's sharpening that you just sharpen the axe, and then when you swing it, you get a lot more done.
Exactly. So mindset map motion measure. The last question is about tracking, man. Yeah.
Right.
Are there any areas of your life that you track?
Yeah, I mean, like for the longest time, you tracked finances, right? Then I actually track emotions. Like, how's this make me feel? Have like so I make my decisions on my highest choices. Am I compromising? Am I looking the other way? Am I feeling bad? So I actually start to, according to your purpose, I make decisions according to my purpose. So as long as I love it and enjoy it, I'll do it. If even if it made a shitload of money and I didn't enjoy it, I won't do it, even though the money's there. So I'm just trying to track on, like, I'd rather do more things that I enjoy doing or have a fulfillment in than doing one big thing big time that I'm just going to wind up burning out on,
Mm-hmm.
even if it makes a lot of money. And you definitely could have both. So I mean, tracking money is great, but that scoreboard could really become deceiving after a while.
Cool.
Because
So
the thing
tracking
is,
how you
like,
feel.
money. Yeah, but money does a lot of things. Like money gives you speed. It gives you access to different things. It gives you freedom. It gives you power. It gives you excitement. It gives you Like I said, freedom. I mean, a lot of cool things, guys. Joy, fulfillment, excitement, pleasure. Like I said, speed, charity, contribution, um, ideas. I mean, it's just so many things it does. The why behind it, right? So look at the whys. And so I'm motivated to make money because I could do so much with it. And that's the truth, man. Let's face it. I don't care what anybody says, but nothing's more of a prison than being financially stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's more than a prison. Horrible, horrible. You can't eat right. You can't exercise. Like you cannot take care of it. It's horrible, horrible place to be in. So it's everybody's duty to be successful, and the things you talk about, successful, happy, like you say, successful, happy, and just be
Fulfilled.
fulfilled. But as same, but making a living, you deserve that. You could have it all. Like you don't have to be a martyr because there's no reward in poverty. But a person who's wealthy on all the areas of life and financially, you could do so much to help people. So much. You could be the underwriter of people's dreams. How about that? I underwrite people's dreams. Like you're so abundant that you could help people out of situations. But what if they do this and that and well, that's their choice. But I'm giving because I can and I want to, right? So I mean, it's when you see money as good and the potential of it on what you could do for the good in the world and for your it's that should be a motivating factor to work hard
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Awesome, man.
For sure.
Man, well, yeah, those were I think were four questions. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember the fifth one. My computer, the battery ran off, and
Oh man.
so yeah, man. But man, I really, really enjoyed this episode, this
Yeah,
talk, this
I'll do the fifth
conversation.
question. I'll do the fifth question to you. What is your idea of success?
My idea of success is
Yes.
progress in every area of my life.
Yes, very nice. Earl Nightingale said success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So progressive is a journey, realization, awareness of a worthy ideal, which is an idea you love. So it's having it's seeing the journey and becoming aware of the thing you love and seeing the progress in the journey of fulfilling. That's success. So
Same
it's
thing.
not.
I
See,
just,
success.
I just wasn't as articulate.
Yeah, no, well, Earl Nightingale was one of the best back in the day. So you nailed it. So success is a state of being or process. It's not a day that you hit it. It's always in the evolution of it. So that was dead on, man. Great job.
I'm successful, man.
You are successful. And a lot of people think there's a cliff or a mountaintop that makes you success. No, you have success in your life because you're a successful person. It's who you are. It's a being. It's a state.
There you go, man.
State.
So, man, I really, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just me, but I'm betting that a lot of people are going to resonate with everything that you are and
Yeah.
everything that you said and everything that you're all about. So, if more people want to learn about you, man, where should they go?
Go to my Instagram at Dr. Zaino, DRZAINO. It's at DRZAINO. And I answer all my DMs and messages. That's always me. And it's good. There's a
Awesome.
lot of good stuff there because I appreciate your time. Time's our greatest commodity, right? We could
Mm-hmm.
trade money and make more money, but that second, this time we had together, we'll never get it back. So I want to make sure we invest our time. What a great investment of time this was. What a
Thanks,
great
man.
investment of energy this was. What a great investment of thought this was. So when you start to think, people think investment is money. Start thinking investment is in time, and how about start thinking of investment as thought? Where do you invest your thoughts? Holy shit. Because when you make an investment, we make an investment for what? To get a return. Everything we do gets a return. So what are you watching? What are you listening to? You're all getting a return on that. So think of thoughts and time and emotion as investments too.
Awesome, man.
Big time.
Well,
Thanks,
thank you
bud.
very much. I'm very grateful for you being here. We'll be
Oh, good
connected,
for
and
you.
I'll see you later, man.
Yeah, let's do it again. Thanks, bud.
Bye, bye,
Thanks.
man.
Bye, everybody.